Welcome back, guys. I'm here at Mosquito, and we've returned here. It's kind of exciting. Um, this is sort of the spot that we started with when we first started leveling this account and doing early videos. This spot was pretty nice for especially Chinese sleeper trophies. And in the time that we've been doing other things, I really haven't fished in this spot in a while until yesterday. And part of why I even looked at it again yesterday was because I was starting to see a lot of weeklies, both in gibbles, Chinese sleeper still, even rough, and occasionally crucians have been coming out of Mosquito recently. And so it got me wondering if it was still this spot that was so good, and so I decided we needed to come check it out. Now, I did fish this spot a little bit last night, both on this account and my main account, and had some really good fishing. So let me go ahead and get lines in the water, and let's see what we can do today. Let's see if it's still going really well. There's a quick bite. Looks like that's going to be a sleeper. Nice size sleeper. Now, I wanted to quickly just mention, I get a lot of feedback on these videos, and I really appreciate all the feedback. I really do. It means a lot to me. So thank you all for leaving your comments and for liking the video, for many of you subscribing to the YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. I would say at heart, I am a streamer. You know, I mean, that's kind of what I do the most of when I have time, but my work schedule doesn't always allow me to stream, and so during the parts of the week where I don't have time, it's nice to still be able to put some content together and just kind of put it out there for those of you who enjoy it. I did see recently some comments about my mic level, as well as wondering if I might be considered doing some editing on the videos. First of all, with mic level, I have adjusted it slightly. I have to be really careful because the mic I use, if I turn up the levels too high, it becomes distortion. There's some distortion in it. And so I think more than mic level, it's just sometimes when I'm recording, according to what's going on around me, or, you know, if I'm really tired or whatever, I mean, it's no excuse. I just don't always probably project my voice as much as I'm doing right now. I would assume that right now the volume of my audio is probably fine. But do continue to let me know if my audio is just not loud enough or if it gets too loud. Please let me know in comments. In terms of editing my videos, at this point that's probably not gonna happen. And I get that for some of you, having an hour-long episode where there's times that no fish are being caught, or you know, I'm running back and forth to fishing spots and everything, that seems really boring or whatnot, and I get that. I think in my mind, the at least what I've heard from folks in terms of if they're just, you know, in-game fishing or trying to learn something about a certain spot or whatever, that sometimes they enjoy watching these videos. But the truth is, like I said before, I do a lot of streaming, and if I'm making these videos, or when I make these videos, it's sort of something that I can do relatively quickly and then kind of put out there. Back when I first started making YouTube videos, I did spend a lot of time editing and cutting stuff up and making those kind of adjustments, and frankly, I just kind of choose not to do that. So I get it if that's a turn off to you, but at this point, it's just not kind of the vibe I'm going for, is to have highly edited stuff. It's more of just you know, more of a chill, laid back experience. But I get the feedback, and again, I appreciate the feedback. I just wanted to respond to that, and I didn't feel like I could respond to it in a couple of typed out messages on the video itself. So let's hope that this spot continues to produce well. I actually also have my main account pulled up on the other computer, fishing this same spot because, and the reason why I did that, and I did that last night briefly, and the main reason why I did that was because on this account, when I was testing this spot out yesterday, a trophy rough came out. And that is something that I did not have on my trophy card, even on my main account here at Mosquito, because of the time that trophies were reset. I think that's going to be a gibble. So I logged in and I immediately caught a trophy rough on my main account as well. In fact, I will tell you, and I don't know if being higher level, I've got these Boonison rods on my main account. And by the way, if I do catch a trophy over here, I'll flash it up on the screen for you to see it. I don't know if the Boonisons or all the skill points I have on my main account or what was making a difference. But I caught about 7 trophies in 24 hours on my main account last night. So this spot, at least as of yesterday, so the day before I'm recording this, this spot was actually still disgustingly good. And primarily, in fact, exclusively, I was catching the trophies on night crawlers and using anywhere from size 6 all the way up to size 10 hook. So quite a range of hook sizes. They all seem to be working. And the big change for this spot is, at this point, is that it's not just the Chinese sleeper trophies that are coming out. Now it seems as though gibbles, lots of gibble trophies are coming out. Or again, they were yesterday at least. And I have been catching more perch here. I've not seen a trophy perch, of course. I think that's fairly unlikely on bottom feeders here. But there just seems to be more activity in this spot than when we first started fishing it. Oh, what's been now, 2 to 3 weeks ago when we first started this leveling experience through these YouTube videos. So yeah, I would say things have actually changed here. The Chinese sleeper trophies are still coming out, but not quite as many as before. But they are still coming out, but the good news is lots of other trophies are coming out as well. In fact, speaking of Chinese trophies, let's go ahead and pop this up real quick. All right, so that's what we just caught on our main account. And it looks like we also, this is likely a gibble trophy, unless it's like a common carp or something like that. I would say most likely what we have here is a gibble carp trophy. Yep, I think that is going to be the case. It'll just be big enough to be a trophy here. Yep, 1.9 gibble trophy. So back-to-back trophies here, right around 2,100 in game, both on my main account as well as the alt account. Starting to see crucians come out. I have not caught a crucian trophy here yet, but I think some people have. It's more gibbles still, but some of them are crucians as well if you look at the weeklies, which I'll try to remember to do that here in just a few moments. Alright, so we got a Chinese sleeper trophy over here. Let me go ahead and put this back in the water and see what's on this other line, and then I'll take this camera off. I know it's kind of annoying to have the screen covered by... It's another big... Alright, let me take this off for now. If anything exciting happens over here, I will let you know. I am primarily going to be fishing on the leveling account, but I did want to... There's another Chinese slooper. Alright, so there's another Chinese sleeper trophy that just came out. We have a good time in the in-game chat. If you're watching this video and you're looking for a home to hang out in while you're playing Russian Fishing 4, please go to your select a channel here, wheel, type in my dogs. That's going to be MY space DAWGS, and come join us. Right now there's 95 players in here, but we really do. It's a good time. All right, so I'm gonna I am going to relog over here on my main account because I want to go and purchase some ground bait for that account. I'm out of the Crucian Gibble Carp, and that's the other thing I should mention is I have been using Crucian Gibble Carp ground bait, which as long as you've been leveling up your ground bait along with me, that is something you can do at a fairly low level. All you need to be able to do is buy millet porridge, ground crackers, and sunflower oil, which I think is available from a very low ground bait level. So it might even be from the start. I just can't remember now, to be honest with you, when millet porridge became available. But I can't remember if that was like right from the start or if it was at a little lower. I mean, if it was up at like 5 or something. I mean, what percentage am I right now? Am I even... So we're just at 13.7%. I guess it could have been at 10% that I got it. So over here on my main account, I'm going to get back set up down there fishing again here shortly. Overnight seemed to be really good for the gibble carp especially. So we'll see if that holds true at this point. But if you have been sort of leveling with me or close to the same level as I am on this account, it's not that this is the best XP spot. It may not even be the best silver spot, although I think I ended up with about 141 silver on my main account last night in just over an hour of fishing. So that's pretty good, you know, and that's not even counting doing any cafe orders. But those trophies do add up. I mean, the gibble carp are going to be at least worth about 10 silver a pop and up to 15 or more based on how big the trophy is. The trophy rough, which aren't coming out as frequently but occasionally are, those are typically worth 15 or more silver. So it still adds up. I think what I would mostly say about this spot is it's actually just fun. It's just it's fun to catch trophies, you know, and see if you can get on that weekly board. It really can just be a lot of fun. One of the reasons why I am actually also fishing on my main account is because I did notice that at times last night when I was testing this both on my main account and on this account before I started getting called out for work, it was a slow bite rate at times. And that's why I've moved from only 6 size hooks to I'm also using a 10 and then an 8. Oh no, actually that one's 12. I forgot I went to 10 and 12. Okay, 10 and 12. I think on my main account I've got like 8s maybe, 2 8s and a 6. But you go through phases where the bite rate is really slow. In fact, you might only get 1 fish per in-game hour at times. But my goodness, the amount of, you know, significant fish you're catching, trophies or just really nice fish in this spot is such that it kind of makes it worth it. 2 bites at the same time. Well, that's not a trophy. That's a common carp. So with the lower bite rate at times, I thought it would be worth having a second account up. And again, if something exciting happens on my main account, I'll certainly let you see it. But we can keep digging over here some. Yeah, so I've actually got smaller hooks on this account, at least on a couple of the rods. Just trying to get a good bite rate. I mean, the trophies are here and they seem to be coming in, so... at this point, I feel like I'm catching just as many trophies on a variety of hook sizes. I don't feel the need to only go size 6 anymore, which when we first started, the way to get those Chinese sleeper trophies seemed to be to put big hooks on. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Well, we're going to have a... we're going to have another one to show you here. So another Gibble trophy just came in over here. Looks like we're getting some bites. Some bites here as well. Oh yeah. So this is when you start seeing... Oh, is that a Crucian trophy? I don't think we have a Crucian trophy yet on this account. It's gotta be, right? That big? Yeah. Very nice. So now we have literally caught 4 different trophies here in the same spot. Whoa! We had this friction break a little high. These really big gibbles can pop your line quite easily. 2.15, another trophy. I'm telling you, it's just... It's rare that I've had this high a percentage of trophies come out in one spot. That's a Crucian as well. So it looks like the Crucian are moving in more and more. It really does. So yeah, if we go to statistics and then trophies, our trophy card, all 4 of these fish were caught in this same spot. 146 gram rough. So that is pretty nice. Trying to put some light out on my other account so it is more visible when I do pop it up. I have a couple camping lights over here that will help some. So we've got 2 trophies so far on that account, and 4 trophies over here on the leveling account. Yeah, so last night my main account was the one that was just popping off trophy after trophy, but tonight it seems like, yeah, today it seems like the leveling account's doing just as well, if not better. Maybe I spoke too soon. So let's see. Let's look at the weeklies right now. What are we looking for? Chinese sleeper. They are getting bigger and bigger. It's interesting that the largest one was on worm, and I haven't tried worm in this spot. It might be worth doing, especially with a big hook. The crucian carps, only one of them at Mosquito, and it was off of semolina. So I'd be curious to try semolina here. Sounds like something big's on one of our lines. And then I've got the weekly right now on gibbles. We had one that was just at 3 kilos. So that's pretty cool. This looks like another gibble. Nice size one. Another nice gibble. Now, it seems to me that the sweet spot has been using 5 kilo fluorocarbon liters. 5.4 to be more specific. So that's kind of what I'm using, that range across both accounts. And I tell you what, I am going to put, so what size hooks do we have over here? 8. I am going to put semolina on one and just see what we're catching on semolina on my main account. We don't have semolina yet on this account, but obviously I have lots of it over here, so let's just try it. So just for point of reference, this third line over here on the main account will have semolina on it. You cannot leave friction brake that high in this spot with with 5 kiloliters on. That is a recipe for disaster. All right, so there's our first fish already on semolina. It's a decent one. Not a trophy though. Semolina may be a really high bite rate. It might not be as good in terms of like focusing in on trophies though. Don't know for sure, but we shall see. And how far away are we from semolina? Is that next? Yeah. And honestly, we just need to commit some silver and some time to making lots of baits and level up our bait harvesting. We're not that far from hitting 30. I think we have ingredients to make a few pearl barley and then maybe a couple of oatmeal. So we've hit a little bit of a slower spell here again. I know it seems like we're making a lot of pearl barley, but believe me, we will use a lot of pearl barley, especially as bream spots are working really well. So it's worth it. I'd rather make a couple thousand pearl barley than you know, the oatmeal. I mean, we'll still have to make some oatmeal boilies or whatever they're called, but oatmeal, what are they called? Oatmeal porridge. So we'll make some oatmeal porridge, and then really what we need to do is go to winding at some point, spend some silver on so we can make some wheat grains, and then maybe at Oldberg purchase the ingredients for making sweet dough, which is like what, sugar, milk, and something else. Those are actually going to level us up faster than the oatmeal and pearl barley. I really like where we're at in the game now with crafting baits. There's enough baits now that you don't ever spend too much time on any single bait, at least until towards the end when you make, you know, 100,000. What is it that we make 100,000 of? Egg dough or something to finish leveling. But for the most part, you know, you can just make a good bit of several different baits, but then you have those baits basically for months and months. You'll have plenty of each of those baits, so it's just easy to try them in different places, you know. So like we've got just about 2,000 bread, over 500 potatoes, almost 500 pearl barley, 370 oatmeal porridge. So, you know, we've got those to try now in different spots. So I kind of like the way it works at this point. Even for a free-to-play account like this, obviously it will get harder without premium because you don't have happy hour or quite as good a chance to level up, I guess, at certain times. But even still, it's not as rough as it used to be when there were so many there were not as many options on baits to craft. So. All right, so this is a bite here on the size 6 hook. This is the one rod we still do have a big 6 hook on. Well, trophy rough, guys. I went so fast I didn't show it. 144 gram rough. This is when I think I have caught every one of the trophy rough is like early morning, right after the sun comes out. What the heck? Those trophy roughs are a nice little bounce for silver. Let's see what semolina has on it over here. I will tell you if it's anything exciting. It looks like it will not be a trophy, just a crucian maybe. So it's interesting because the night crawlers get a really high percentage of gibbles and still Chinese sleepers at this point. The semolina seems to really be targeting crucians in a way that's very different. So it's kind of an interesting thing. So just in this little bit of time, on just this one account, our leveling account for these videos, we've been fishing for what, 30 minutes, and we've got, or a little less than that, and we've got 6 trophies. I think that using the Crucian Gibble ground bait is working really nicely, although it could just be a coincidence because it felt like about the time I started using that Crucian Gibble ground bait was about the time this spot sort of changed and really started moving to the next level of just not just putting out Chinese sleeper trophies, but now pretty much several different species of trophies fairly consistently. Take it, fish, take it. You can do it. But you wouldn't say that the overall bite rate of this place in any like 24-hour time is necessarily that high. I mean, you can find places that will have a higher bite rate than this. It's the percentage of trophies that makes this spot seem special right now. There we go. Perch. Another difference between my main account and this leveling account that we're doing for this video series is I have much nicer feeders on my main account in terms of what the ground bait sits in. And that can matter. I mean, it's the idea is that they're less visible, right? And so that might do something to increase the chance of trophy size. I don't know. We're seeing some pretty decent perch come out at this point. I've even been catching bream in this spot, not consistently, but occasionally. Again, it's like all of the fish in the lake have come to hang out in one spot. It's very strange. I'm starting to think that... Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, we really hope this is a gibble. I'm starting to think that Semolina might not be worth using here as far as kind of the strategy we're in general using to try to hit the trophies, because Semolina is catching a lot of fish, but a lot of them are really small. It's kind of a mixed bag. So where night crawlers is going to be a slower bite rate, so you're not going to see fish for a while. When you do see them, typically they're really good fish. Semolina, I mean, if that's boring, you could put one line with Semolina, I suppose, and have a chance of catching a really big one there, but also catch a lot of small ones in between. So it kind of just depends on your preference, I guess. And if this is a gibble, it'll be a really, really nice one. It could be like, a perch or a more likely something like a common carp or something that's being so annoying here. Hopefully we can get him in and he doesn't pop off. It's starting to look promising that we're going to get him in. We still got some fight left in him. If it is a gibble, it's a big, 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 big trophy. That's sort of best case scenario here. Can't tell. Oh, wow. Every fish in the lake has come to hang out here. I did take Semolina back off. At least during the daytime hours, all it was doing was like catching little tiny fish. That eyed was surprising. You know, the other thing we could try, and I hate to take away from all the trophies we're catching with this, but we could try to put mussels in the water and see if there's a trophy eyed here. I think it's unlikely, but who knows? We'll see what the weekly is on roughs at this point. So there we are. That's my main account, 161 gram. 159 right now is 5th place. But that's the only one off Mosquito on that weekly list. So this is the time now where, back when we were like level 4 and 5 or 6 or whenever that was on this account, that we would see the trophy sleepers come out a lot. Sort of this before noon kind of time frame. Now it seems like there's just trophies of different species coming out off and on all day. And it's not that you won't hit really slow spots. I mean, I think we've seen that you will hit those sometimes, but in general, it's pretty nice. And did we make all the oatmeal we can for now? Yeah. This spot is so fun that I'm actually ignoring some pretty interesting cafe orders here right now. But I mostly just wanted to show this spot off and see, you know, give it a full day and kind of see how well it performs. Okie dokie. It has really slowed down. One thing I noticed last night is that it was colder. Like the high was, I think, around 16 degrees Celsius, which is what it will be 4 days from now. And it was, I mean, it almost felt ridiculous how fast the trophies were coming out last night. I guess it was similar to this, maybe a little bit better though. But this has still been really good. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's our first Crucian trophy, a Chinese trophy, and a rough trophy. I don't know how much longer we should keep going. I think between now and a little later in the afternoon, it might still be a little slow here as the temperatures keep heating up. Well, that line just did something weird, didn't it? I'm not necessarily sure if a fish is on yet, though. Yeah, it is. How big was that eyed? 2.7. Yeah, there's an order for that for 26 silver. There's also a white bream order, which would be really easy. I say we go turn in orders and wrap this one up. Just trying to wait for one more fish, but all right. Excuse me. Some muddy water. I was trying to decide, should we leave them in the water or not? What time are we at right now? Yeah, we're less than an hour, but not by a lot. One more perch for the road. As much fun as I'm having at this spot, I do think we ought to maybe go hit that eel and tench spot next video. See if their eel are still there. Okay, so we've got this eyed trophy. Sorry, not trophy. This eyed order. That's definitely worth doing. This is a weird Crucian order. I guess it would still be good overall, especially if you had several Crucians that weren't quite trophies, but that were over a kilo. Seems like that's where that would really shine. We should be able to do this one. Yeah, I'm sure those wouldn't sell for 6 silver. And again with this one, if they are relatively small, it's probably worth doing. We could have tested that, but I think it was probably worth it. And then on top of that, 95 more silver. So again, it's just like less than an hour. That's a good bit of silver. Oh, that puts us up at 500 silver. Speaking of which, what are we going to do for our next rod and reel? Let's think about rod first. It's just one of my favorite feeder rods in the game, especially that's fairly affordable at a sort of low to mid level. 478 silver, and it goes up to 19.5 kilo. That means it could technically work not only for the reel we're getting for it now, but also the next reel upgrade and possibly even the upgrade after that, although at that point it's probably not ideal, but it's just a rod that grows with you and it's not that expensive. And I guess this is kind of the same thing. It's even stronger. It is about 138 silver more, or a little more than 138 silver more. So we could get both of them. I mean, we could do the Siberia first and then the Impulse. And then at that point, you're sort of jumping to the next level, which back in the day, I would have gone ahead and saved up for the Model 1 feeder, which gets you up to 30 kilo at the strongest one, at least 28. But now there's way more options. The Model 2 was always a reasonable option as well. It's not that different, and it's a good bit cheaper. But we have these as well, sort of these in-betweens, comma, and I think this one was always in the game. That comma brand is the new one here. But the next step is sort of the last step that you make with feeders, unless you want to go for the real big ones or the ones that are giving you bonuses. Like on my main account, I did save up and get a couple of these wind gates, and it gives you +1 to fishing with a feeder rod, so it actually has a built-in bonus, but these are really expensive. I've always fished for bream with these Boonison rods because they give you +2 to loop rig, and so just increasing that trophy. I have these both on my main account and my secondary account, except the secondary account has picker Boonisons. So those are really good. But again, you're just talking about a lot of silver at that point. But I think after this next step, just looking down the line, after you get a couple of them from this level, really what you're looking at next is, do you want to transition to carp rods? Because let's see what the beginner carp rod. You gotta be, well, we're the right level, but you have to have fishing with a carp rod ability required. When do you get that? At 60%, and we're at 44%. But so we'll be there before you know it. I mean, it just happens. But the cheapest one, I don't know. I don't know that to me it's 35 kilo. For a lot of us, the first carp rods we ever got were these Fortuna carp rods, because they actually do jump up. I mean, that's almost 40 kilos. I think on my main account, I have 2 of those and 1 Sage, which goes all the way up to 60 kilos. That's a nice rod, but that's a lot of silver. So anyway, for this account, we probably get the Fortuna feeder 420 next for our rod. And then what reel do we want to get? Right now at this level, we have a Sputnik Element Pro 4000. Do we just get a Adriatica, which is 7.5 kilo? We may only get one more reel that is in this like 200 to 300 price range. See, I'm kind of feeling like maybe we get the Adriatica because we can get that a lot sooner. It's only 300 silver, at least here. And then after that, the next bump up we do is like a real upgrade to another level with either the Sputnik Pro, the Supercast, which this is honestly probably what I'll try first at that level because I've never used this reel. And I'm just fascinated by it. It has such a big spool for this size. It doesn't quite have the power of the Proton Pro or the Saber, but it's got a really big spool and I think it just looks neat, so we might try that one. Okay, well, as always, thank you for watching, and yeah, I'll figure out what we're gonna do next video, and we'll get to it soon. Thank you so much.